From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Tonight here at 5:30, you might be in this predicament. Did you buy concert tickets for a summer event that was canceled? And if so, are you still waiting for a refund? Ahead, why there's such a delay and what options you might have.
Topping our lineup, changes are being made when it comes to bringing animals on planes. What impact advocates say this could have on your travel experience. It stands to be one of the longest lasting effects of the pandemic, school-aged children falling behind in math. How to spot the signs and the best ways to combat the problem with kids in your family. And you may have seen appliances for sale that come with self-cleaning upgrades. We're going to the experts to find out if these appliances are actually worth investing in.
Well, as this pandemic year draws to a close, tens of thousands of people are still holding concert tickets to shows that never took place. So can you get a refund if your show has been canceled or postponed? Consumer reporter John Matarese looks into ticket frustration so you don't waste your money.
Summer is long over, and with it, all those summer concerts we'd hoped to see, but were canceled. So why are so many concert goers having a tough time getting refunds? Luke Bryan, Darius Rucker, Garth Brooks, all postponed. Brad Paisley, canceled. And Taylor Swift, her entire world tour canceled. Venues have been empty since February. But for concert goers, the fight for refunds goes on.
It was $648 for the four of us. No refund.
Nikki Agee wants a refund of her 4 tickets to see Elton John, a concert now postponed to 2022. But her tickets came from Vivid Seats, a third-party seller.
Any refund would have to come through the person who transferred me the tickets.
You have to get the refund from the person who sold you the ticket?
Yes. I would have to transfer the tickets back to the original owner.
These past 6 months have taught concert goers a lot about the risk of buying from third-party ticketing websites. The problem is they didn't really sell you that ticket, and they don't have the money now to give back.
I think they should return us our money.
Kelly and Tom Relly hit a similar wall earlier this fall with their $800 Foo Fighters tickets purchased through StubHub.
They're a pretty big business, and we're just little people that just want our money back.
But StubHub offered them only vouchers for a future concert. StubHub's president telling Axios, in normal times, we take the risk of giving refunds to buyers before recouping the same refund from the seller. But these are unprecedented times. There is good news if you purchase directly from Ticketmaster. After outrage from fans and lawmakers, Ticketmaster is now offering refunds for both canceled and postponed shows. But neither Vivid Seats or StubHub is giving cash refunds for postponed concerts like Nicki's.
It's just ridiculous how complicated it is.
She may need to join one of several lawsuits filed against both Vivid Seats and StubHub. Once concerts resume, and they will, know the differences with third-party websites. You don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese, WRTV.
Well, a beautiful sunset right now over DePauw University. You can see that pink sky, a little bit of cloud coverage still. We're starting to see some of that clear out. That's from a disturbance that's just to the south of us. It's going to clear out by tomorrow morning, but it will leave us with partly cloudy skies across the area this evening. Winds are going to shift and become more northerly, which means we're going to see cooler air filtering into the area. So it is going to get chilly tonight. As we head into the evening, we're going to be in the 40s around 8 o'clock, 35 by around 11 p.m. And then by tomorrow morning, much colder. We are dropping into the 20s to start your Saturday morning. As we look ahead to the weekend, we're going to see temperatures a little cool as we head through the weekend. Mostly sunny on Saturday, temperatures in the 40s. Looking ahead to the next couple days, as we head through the weekend, plenty of sunshine, and then we are going to see those temperatures cool to start Monday and Tuesday. We're staying in the 40s, which is actually average for this time of year, and then we will creep way up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. We'll be close to 50 degrees.
States nationwide are facing a deadline to submit requests for doses of Pfizer's COVID vaccine once it's approved. It'll determine where the vaccines are shipped. Meanwhile, many states seem to be taking the recommendation from the CDC to prioritize vaccines for healthcare workers and nursing home residents. New numbers are painting a grim picture about what we can expect from the pandemic in the coming months. The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation projects more than 500,000 COVID deaths by April. Daily deaths will likely peak in mid-January. The model argues that if everyone wore masks, more than 66,000 American lives could be saved. The legalization of marijuana doesn't mean it's harmless.
it's kind of one of those hidden issues it's rising to the surface. And the DRE program is really designed to help address that from an enforcement standpoint.
That's the head of the National Drug Evaluation and Classification Program. It trains law enforcement officers to be drug recognition experts. They can identify if a driver is drug impaired through a 12-part process, including vital signs and attention tests. They can classify 7 different types of drug impairment. The head of the program says marijuana is now more dangerous than ever.
People oftentimes look at marijuana as what it was like in the 60s and the 70s, and that was like 2 to 3 to 4% THC levels. We're seeing items out there, whether it be edibles or people smoking things, that are the 90 percentile of THC.
New research out of the Netherlands found vaping THC can cause impairment for up to 4 hours after. This is video that they shared of their experiment with impaired drivers. They measured delayed reactions and swerving down to the centimeter. Other strains of cannabis could also affect your performance behind the wheel. Low-dose CBD without THC, an increasingly popular substance, did not impair driving. U.S. safety experts say drug driving is on the rise, and it's a round-the-clock issue.
We've got roadside studies that say that just as many drug-impaired drivers were identified in the daytime as they were at night, and these were impairing drugs.
Drug recognition experts are in all 50 states, but there are only about 7,300 shared between agencies. Some states are considering taking money from legalized marijuana taxes to hire more DREs. More in our lineup. The policy involving the types of animals allowed on planes is changing. A look at the new rules and how this could change your travel plans. Gone are the days of random animals roaming about on your flight. The Department of Transportation has changed the rules to allow only service animals in the cabin. No more emotional support animals. This is after a wide range of issues with untrained dogs acting out and people bringing other emotional support animals on board.
I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. These poor dogs. Sometimes you see a person actually being the emotional support for the dog that's trembling.
Assistance Dogs International of North America pushed for the change in rules. The DOT rules now follow the definition of the American with Disabilities Act that first defines service animals as a dog, not a cat or a peacock. It's a dog that's trained to perform tasks directly related to the person's disability. Only about 40 to 50% of dogs that go into service training make it. If they're stressed at all in public, they're dropped. And the other goal and change in the DOT rule is a win for veterans or anyone with PTSD. They now recognize psychiatric service dogs the same as other service dogs like for blind people. And that means they can accompany people on flights.
If they have nightmares from what they've been through, the dogs will nudge them awake or pull their covers off. If they're hesitant to go into a dark room, the dog will go in and turn the lights on for them.
Again, psychiatric service dogs are trained to perform tasks like push buttons for people or help the person get comfortable going into public settings. Another thing the new DOT rule does is not allow airlines to ban any certain breed of service dog. Now, some airlines will allow you to bring a small pet on board as long as you pay for it and you comply with the airline's guidelines. Ahead in our lineup, the impact the pandemic is having on students is a big concern. And now new data shows it's impacting their math scores. We'll look at the concerns about long-term effects. Uber is asking the CDC for its drivers to be considered essential so they could get the COVID vaccine early. The company says the drivers provide transportation to other essential workers and food delivery services. Southwest Airlines might have to furlough 6,800 employees this spring. This would be the first time in the company's history. Furloughed employees would be ground crew, customer service agents, flight attendants, and pilots. Dry ice companies are expected to be busy during the next several months. That's because dry ice will be used to store the COVID vaccine once it's available. The Pfizer vaccine will need to be stored at 94 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Nexair, which produces dry ice, says demand usually drops after the holidays, but that's changing this year.
We're preparing right now to work extra hours to produce ice. I mean, we've even got a crew lined up to work extra hours at our plant here in Memphis this weekend.
Nexair says it's difficult to make detailed plans right now because they're not sure exactly how big the demand for dry ice will be or how long it will last. Before telehealth became popular, a Colorado doctor needed it more than a year ago to make sure she delivered a healthy baby. Dr. Mackenzie Hartman knew she carried an antibody that could put her future children at risk of having heart problems while in the womb that could affect their lives. And then she got pregnant with Harrison. She found the best way to protect him was constant monitoring with twice monthly echocardiograms and daily monitoring at home. She worked with a fetal cardiologist at Children's Hospital Colorado from her home in Grand Junction, 4 hours away.
She would go through all the images that the ultrasound tech took. Some of them were videos. If there was, a picture she didn't like or a view that she wanted something better of, she would say, hey, can you go and repeat this image?
The monitoring started when Dr. Hartman was 16 weeks pregnant and lasted until she was 28 weeks. The home monitoring required her to learn what to listen for in Harrison's heartbeat. And if something didn't sound right, she called her doctor.
If there was a weird rhythm that was going on, I would record it and I would send it to her and she would review it. And, she'd contact me back and say, hey, check again in another hour, or it sounds okay, whatever it may be.
Harrison Hartman celebrated his first birthday in October. Dr. Hartman says Harrison never spent a night in the NICU and they went home 24 hours after he was born. As for the doctor Mackenzie relied on via telehealth at Children's Hospital Colorado, she says they still have never met in person.
Students at Avon High School were back inside their school building today. The school was among those that had gone to all virtual learning 2 weeks ago after a high number of staff and student quarantines. The school reported to the state health department that 76 students have tested positive for COVID-19 since the school year began. While Avon High School is back to in-person learning, all schools in Marion County will remain virtual until at least mid-January because of the mandate from the county's health department. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and his wife are out of quarantine today. The Hogsetts went into isolation 2 weeks ago after coming into close contact with someone who later tested positive for the coronavirus. The mayor and staff Hogsett said that they did not show symptoms, and last week they announced they had both tested negative for COVID-19. However, they decided to continue to quarantine for the full 2 weeks following the guidelines set by the CDC.
Cloudy skies over IU Bloomington right now as the sun is setting. We're going to continue to see that cloud coverage throughout the evening before it clears out overnight. That's going to allow us to cool way down as we start our Saturday morning as well. Today, we were a bit above average. Our high was 50 degrees. Our low this morning, 29 degrees. Usually we're right around 43 this time of year, and our low is 28. So those lows are right on track, and that's where we're going to fall to overnight tonight. So by this evening, we'll stay in the 40s, and then we'll drop into the 30s by about midnight, 20s by tomorrow morning. So if you have any morning plans, you might want to bundle up because it is going to be a chilly start to our weekend. What's going on right now is we do have this low pressure system that's just off to the east of us. That moved through just throughout the day today, and that brought us a little bit of cloud coverage, just scooting past Indiana, not bringing any of that precipitation. We're going to continue to clear out those clouds as we head overnight tonight. That's going to allow us to really cool down by tomorrow morning. We have a cold front that's going to sweep through from the north, and that's going to bring us some chilly air just in time for the weekend. So looking ahead to that, tomorrow morning going to be a chilly start. Temperatures in the 20s across the area. Close to average with those lows. By our daytime highs, we're going to be a bit below average in the 40s. So it is going to be a cooler day, but we are going to see plenty of sunshine. High pressure is going to take control as we head into Saturday afternoon. Looking ahead to the next 7 days, cool Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. And then we're going to start a bit of a warming trend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. By Friday, back into the low 50s.
Job growth is still slowing. That tops the news feed. Employers added 245,000 jobs last month. It's the fewest since April. It's also the 5th straight monthly slowdown. The unemployment rate did fall, though, to a still high 6.7%, down from 6.9% in October. 100 days of wearing masks. That's what President-elect Joe Biden is asking for when he takes office in January. He told CNN in an interview that it's not forever, just 100 days to control the spread of the virus. Biden also says he'd be happy to join the former presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton in getting the vaccine in public. He said he'll do it when Dr. Fauci says the vaccine is safe. For months now, public health experts and educators have been lamenting the long-term impacts of remote learning. New data out this week shows the impact it's having on student performance. As Usher Qureshi found, there's both good news and bad news.
In May, researchers estimated that by the beginning of this academic year, the average student would lose a third of their reading progress and half of their math progress from the previous year.
That was kind of assuming kind of worst case scenario.
This week, NWEA, a not-for-profit standardized testing company, released its findings from this fall's assessment.
Kids remarkably have weathered pretty well in reading, and those patterns, both in the cross-sectional as well as the longitudinal studies, really kind of highlight some good news.
But their analysis of data from nearly 4.4 million U.S. students in grades 3 to 8 found average scores for math were lower, between 5 and 10 percentile points for students this year as compared to the same grade students last year. The findings represent some of the first empirical measures of how the pandemic has affected student performance.
We're moving slower, which means that we're covering less material over a certain period of time.
For many teachers like Kara Cohen, who has been teaching 5th grade reading and math for more than 2 decades, remote learning has forced her to slow her pace, especially with math.
And there may be difficulties with Wi-Fi, different things from day to day. You have to slow down in order to reach all learners.
Dr. Kimberly Behrens is a child development expert, educator, and the author of Blind Spots, Why Students Fail and the Science That Can Save Them.
Spending more time on repeated, reinforced practice of skills to mastery so that when kids have gaps in instruction that are inevitably going to happen from school closures, kids getting sick, or pandemics, then kids will be more resilient.
Still, NWEA's data set is incomplete. 1 in 4 students who they tested in 2019 were missing from this year's assessment.
They were much more likely to be African American or Latinx or Hispanic. They were more likely to be from high poverty schools, and they were more likely to be lower achieving in the first place.
That means that while the new data suggests some promising outcomes, we still don't know just how severely the pandemic is impacting minority and socioeconomically disadvantaged students. I'm Usher Qureshi reporting.
Experts say some signs that you should watch out for that your child may be falling behind in math include counting on fingers beyond early years, your child not attempting to find alternatives to problems when roadblocks arise, and increased anxiety or not paying attention during math lessons. One school district in South Carolina invested millions of dollars in exchange for some peace of mind. This district is now using plexiglass on students' desks. Many kids have expressed that they like having that personal space, and teachers say it hasn't affected their teaching, and they've also added their own touch.
Once the plexiglass came in, for me, I felt like it just wasn't cohesive for my students. It didn't lend enough walking space for me or them. So after school, we put them in quads. They were easily moved, and it was fine.
The district aims to install the plexiglass barriers in all of their elementary schools by Christmas. The Czech Republic is testing its teachers for COVID as students gradually return to school. The program is free, voluntary, and uses rapid antigen tests. Up to 170,000 teachers will be tested by the 18th. The Czech Republic was one of the hardest hit in Europe. Marvel is honoring healthcare workers by unveiling a new set of superheroes. Instead of capes, they wear scrubs. Marvel Comics teamed up with Allegheny Health Network in Pennsylvania to create a new comic book. It's called the True Nurse Stories comic book. It focuses on stories of actual nurses who work near Pittsburgh and everything that they've done to keep us safe during the pandemic. Finally, in our lineup, you may have seen appliances for sale that come with self-cleaning upgrades. We're going to the experts to find out if these appliances are actually worth investing in during the pandemic. Home appliance makers are starting to focus more on hygiene amid the pandemic. The Wall Street Journal reports that LG Electronics is putting sterilizing ultraviolet lights in its refrigerators. Whirlpool is promoting its washing machines with heating built in to kill germs and allergens in clothing. And Samsung is bringing on scientists who specialize in water and air quality. We talked to an infectious disease and emergency medicine physician about these features in home appliances. He tells us they likely won't have a big impact on reducing transmission of the coronavirus.
In many ways, it's more of a marketing opportunity because people are worried about the coronavirus, but I don't suspect you'll see any major decrement because that's not how people are getting infected with this virus by and large.
Dr. Amish Adalja says these features may kill the coronavirus more quickly, but it's important to remember it doesn't spread easily by touching surfaces or clothing.
soap and water is fine. I think many people are going above and beyond, but they're not going to really see much benefit from doing it. So you don't need to have a laboratory grade sterilization device in your kitchen.
Still, consumer demand has gone up. From spring to summer, demand for washing machines with purifying steam went up 46%. Sales of air treatment appliances, they went up 23%. As we continue to highlight the struggle to make ends meet and find jobs, here's Chris Conti with a preview of a story that he's working on for next Monday.
Demand for groceries across the country is still incredibly high. So why are jobs in warehouses like this one still sitting empty?
Our biggest challenge is keeping everybody safe.
The rush to keep grocery stores stocked, coming up on Monday.
And it's going to be chilly tonight. Temperatures dropping into the 20s. Looking ahead to the weekend, we'll be in the 40s. Slow climb close to 50 by Friday. And the news at 6 starts right now.